So neither of us are foil experts, but a lot of the things that Ari has been saying about epee apply similarly to foil.
Yes, although if there are any foilists on this stream, I'd like to add a disclaimer that I really don't understand to the fullest extent. I do understand right away, as most fencers I think should be obligated to, but I have weak eyes per se. You know, I have epais eyes, and they're conditioned to that. So it's hard for me to see the nuanced actions. Like, you know, and if it's an argument over whether the attacker had the beat or if the defender had the parry.
I will help with that part.
All right, perfect. So we have Kaylee Koo, the #1 seed, going to NCAAs for Stanford, and Sophia Rosso from...
And actually Rafaella Gomes from UCSD.
Wait, really? I thought that's Koo.
Koo and Gomes.
Oh, yes. I'm looking at the semifinals. I'm so sorry.
So foil is the only weapon where you can actually get a hit that is off target, and that is almost like a null hit. So the only valid target area is the silver part of the lame. Okay, so the referee calls beat attack from the left. The Stanford crew didn't like that call very much, but Koo just kind of lets it go. So I think either she thought it wasn't worth fighting about, or she agrees with the call that the referee made.
A lot of the differences between epee and the other two weapons where the referee... Good touch from Gomes.
Does play a big part.
The referee ultimately calls touches a certain way, and it's up to the fencers to adapt to the way the referee is calling rather than to fight them. Because I've seen so many high-level foil fencers waste their energy and, you know, brain cells, mental and emotional, physical energy arguing with the referee.
So that's the second time that the ref has made a call that one of the fencers had disagreed with. But again, the bout is kind of early, so everyone is kind of adjusting to everyone else.
Yeah.
In the semifinal, Gomes was winning a lot of touches in infighting, and specifically with like a runaway counterattack. So we'll see if she gets into those situations and decides to use that tool again. And Koo was very comfortable defending herself and using flick riposts. So
wow, the miss parry riposte to the back, and then, you know, she just recovered right back to another parry riposte to the flank.
Yeah, in foil, you kind of have to always assume that your attack is going to miss, because just hitting the target is so hard to do that the foil fencers have such a fast hand and are always ready for plan B, just like that.
That was attacker me's left, correct?
Gomes missed parry, counter parry for Gomes.
Counter parry, excuse me. See, epee is everyone. I'm not even going to pretend.
And a lot of the time, something that is very similar to epee in foil is that they'll kind of do a lot of fake actions to try to like surprise each other with a real one.
Yes, that's definitely a similarity. You see...
Oh!
The fakes in foil are significantly more obvious too, because there's only one target. So they fake less exactly where the target is, but more of the line. They're going to fake high line, fake low line, and even there, Koo showing that she's, you know, changing lines all the way, and those can be considered fakes, correct?
Yeah.
Whereas in epee,
just showing that they're threatening a certain part of the body.
Exactly. Oh,
that was a nice touch.
Good touch from Gomes there.
That was an 8 parry, which is, it covers the low right part of the body, which you don't see very often in foil.
And left for lefties.
Yes, and left for lefties.
You basically, you do a circular motion downwards to the outside of your weapon hand.
To your front thigh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see too much 8 in Saber, do we, Andrew?
No, actually in Saber, the numbering system is a little bit different.
You see a jump 2, right?
Yeah, 2 is correct, that's right. They have 2 in epee also, but because of the angle of the arm, it isn't used very often.
Exactly. So Koo is having a very hard time attacking right now. And it looks like she's setting up pretty well, but she hasn't landed even off target. It looks like she's hitting the mask flat or a little bit over. So it looks as though she's actually gone back into more of her comfort zone, which is an interesting strategy from Gomes, who has the lead.
Yeah, she's pushing, but not very aggressively. Oh, never mind. Like I did say before, she was very good at infighting in her first bout, so I think she feels that if she does get parried or misses, she can just step in and be comfortable in that situation.
Oh yeah, and she's definitely comfortable deciding where the bout's going to happen, right there.
And again, she's having a really hard time. I think part of it is that she's not really initiating the action. Gomez is initiating most of the actions, and Ku is trying to finish. But that's a very difficult thing to do, especially in women's foil, because they're wearing these flat plastic chest protectors, and in foil you have to actually compress the tip for a certain amount of time, unlike an épée where you just press the tip and it's done.
Exactly.
So a lot of the time, if they hit each other on the chest, it can just bounce off.
Yeah.
So that makes women's foil a more defensive game than men's foil.
Yep, and that fact alone right there makes it impossible for me to fence foil, because, you know, in épée you depress the tip and then you go celebrate the touch or wonder why you got hit. In foil, every time I fence foil, I think I'm getting the touch, but I don't hold it down for long enough, and ask myself, is the blade not working? Is my brain not working? What's going on?
They ask themselves that a lot as well, quite honestly. And
so
I
Ku
think
is unhappy with the blade there. As we're talking about
yes.
She clearly thinks she should be getting more, or maybe she just wants to disrupt the momentum of Gomes. It could be a mixture of the two, because Gomes has really controlled this whole first period. It looked at the beginning as though Ku was doing a great job with her defensive mentality, but Gomes is really just not missed, and it looks like Ku, again, anyone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but it looks as though Ku is not setting up the wrong actions. I mean, there have been times where Gomes has just been completely in control, but there have been a lot of misses on Ku's end.
The tricky thing about that is she may be setting up the actions, but she's not actually initiating the hit.
Yeah.
And so in foil, because it's quite hard to actually hit target, if the person just moves in and kind of just twists their target area a little bit, it can be very difficult to actually get your point on and get a light. So if I were Ku, the change that I would make is you need to actually initiate more actions. Like she's just kind of moving and reacting to Gomes instead of starting her own action.
I see that for sure. And especially, we talked about how you mentioned that she's very strong at, you know, those parry, riposte, flick touches. But again, with initiation, you know, she doesn't have to just be going back and waiting for an attack. She can initiate her opponent's attack through invitations, right?
Yeah.
So I think that if that's her comfort zone, where she likes to play the parry riposte game, she still needs to take initiative on the footwork.
Yes, agreed.
To
get Gomes to do something.
To get Gomes to come out, because Gomes, again, has been so comfortable leading the bout, deciding where on the strip the touches are going to happen. She was comfortable taking the risk and pushing Ku, and Ku wanted to go back. And then she'd get up, and she'd go back herself. And, you know, say, ball's in your court, Ku. Come and get the touch. And I think that that's a very mentally dominant thing to do. It's very fun to watch fencers take control like that, but it's such an ebb and flow. You have to continue that at the start of every period, and after every touch, the momentum can change.
That was more what I was talking about.
Exactly. Oh, and you're saying initiate, you meant sort of put more pressure on the attack?
Yeah, she actually finished an attack there. Because she hasn't been...
There, oh.
Wow, another nice infighting touch.
Wow, I really thought Ku had that.
Me too.
Gomes is so sharp right now.
That was a remise with opposition, where she suspected Ku was going to wait and try to hit her to that line. So she hit again immediately and just blocked that line with her foil.
Which it's not an easy thing to do, because you have to anticipate where your opponent's blade is going to be and close out that line as you get...
As the opponent is trying to hit you, yeah.
Wow, Gomes is just feeling it. The footwork. Oh, Ku with the parry post. That seems to be her strongest touch.
I think that's the first infighting touch that Gomes has not won.
Yeah.
Or at least the first one she's lost a touch on.
Exactly. Ku with the foot touch could have been in that Bay final. That was nice.
Gomes actually reminds me a little bit of the way Nicole Ross fences.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we have to assume that all the fencers at this age category have grown up watching the Nicole Ross, the Lee Kiefers, the Nzinga Prescott's. Even, I mean, you talk about they have so many sources of inspiration across the world, but the American fencers, obviously we see Gomes is from Brazil. Nice touch from Ku, but you have Sabrina Marcialis, Jackie Dubrovich, you know,
I'm probably leaving so many people out. Sarah Taffel, Iman Blow. You know, these fencers are more in the same age category as the Lauren Scruggs fencers. But, I mean, even then, you have to look up to your competitors. And they have so many superstars to model their fencing after. So I do see a bit of Nicole, you know, being embodied by Gomes. I'd say Nicole is a little more active on the feet.
Nice parry. Gomes thought that was hers.
I don't know, what'd you see there, Andrew?
I agree with the call. And the ref is, the coach is telling Gomes
also that it wasn't her.
Yes.
Okay, good call, coach.
And
there,
nice touch.
True, with all these parry posts, this is her bread and butter. If she's going to come back, she needs to keep initiating it. I'd say every once in a while, throw in a finished action with an attack.
And so Ari said before that Ku changed her blade either because she didn't have confidence in it or to break the momentum a little bit. And so what Gomes just did was interesting. She tried to hit and didn't get a light, and she didn't ask the referee to test her weapon, indicating that she thought maybe it wasn't working. She just immediately handed it over, indicating that this is probably more of a tactical change than anything else.
And, you know, it's not something that's banned. You can do that in any sport, I would assume. You know, in tennis, if you don't like it, change your racket, right?
Yeah.
You know, tie your shoe.
There's more specific reasons to change your racket in tennis, but the point is the same.
Yeah, no, I mean simply to break the momentum.
Yes, definitely.
Give yourself, obviously in tennis you have a lot more wear and tear, but even in fencing, for all you know, you hit a blade a bunch of times, you hit kind of hard.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to change it, but in fencing, I would definitely say it is a slightly different point. You sort of warm up to your blade as you use it more.
Yeah. The balance of every blade is a little bit different, no matter how exact you try to make them feel.
I love that feeling of calibration when your body knows it's complete and you feel like the blade's sort of an extension of yourself.
That's cool.
That's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. And so sometimes, especially in foil, when you change your blade, it can have a slightly different weight, a slightly different balance. The tip is not exactly where you were thinking it was. Oh my God.
Really true.
That was
a great, again, parry riposte. She's getting much sharper, more disciplined, and less frustrated. I think that's what's changed. She looked so frustrated at the beginning.
Yeah.
And she's just taking ownership of her fencing.
Wow.
Try to go with that over the head riposte again.
And I think part of it is that Gomes has been mixing up whether she's going in or out in infighting really well. But every time she's gone in, Ku has tried to hit her under. And the last time we saw that happen successfully for Gomes, she did that closeout in 4.
Exactly.
And so this time, when you close at 4, you open up part of your back. So this time, assuming she would do it again, she went around her head.
Wow. Ku!
Nice touch.
Wow.
Was that a beat attack?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my FAIs are starting to work. So nice beat attack from Ku on the right. That was. It's been really fun in both of these bouts. We've seen the winner, not necessarily the winner, the person leading the bout, excuse me, lose control and have, oh my gosh.
Another one.
Wow, a closeout touch right there. She closed the low line, it looked like.
Yep.
Good touch. So here, now we have a tie bout. Was it 9-5 or 9-4?
It was 8-2. I don't know what the score was when it was 9, but
Ku has really turned it around here, and we're seeing a little bit more. Oh,
wow.
And
that was a very
missed.
risky action to make.
Going for line?
No, not going for line. Gomes took a big step with a beat against line. Usually with line, you want to deal with it with small actions from far away. She did one final deciding action, which happened to work, but that's a very risky thing to do against line. Then you lose the touch.
Yeah. But it also was in her favor. The beat was successful, and Ku missed.
Yes.
Ku completely missed.
Yes.
There's a lot going on there. This is a very fun bout to watch.
Yeah,
Both fencers have created a lot of very interesting touches.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see neither fencer give up. Gomes obviously wants to win. She tasted it for so long, but Ku's not giving up. And that's something that's very commendable in the sport because, you know, Andrew and I have been doing this for a while. We know what it's like to be down 8-2. And as possible as you know it is to correct that and to win the bout because it's happened so many times, it's still such a demoralizing feeling to know that your opponent just comes out of the gate firing hot, you're not ready, you're missing, whatever the reason is, it can be so demoralizing to be down 8-2, and it is always such a wild feeling to actually close that lead. I mean, you can relate. You know that sense of tunnel vision where you feel like you're just fencing, getting touches, and all of a sudden it's tied again.
Yeah.
And that's you getting into a flow state, which it looked like Ku was sort of reaching. She stopped missing. She's only missed one touch, one action really in the last 7 touches.
Yeah,
probably.
7 or 8 touches, exactly.
Let's see what happens. This is third period.
Third period, yeah.
Correct? Yeah. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because they're not keeping track on the machine.
Yeah.
And these periods last a long time, so I don't remember.
Yeah, neither do I. Sorry, America. I do not remember.
So you see Gomes doing the kind of creeping attack that she has been doing the whole bout.
Ooh.
There, Ku actually initiates the action. Another line. For those of you who don't know, point in line is when you extend your arm and you establish. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, and Ku misses the riposte again. So is it safe to say that some of these might be related to her distance? Like maybe her distance off and that's why she's missing?
It could be part of it. Also, another thing that could be happening is Gomes could be moving her shoulder in a way that makes the flick harder to hit.
Yeah, and there's so much nuance to this sport that it's even hard to catch watching from a bird's eye view, watching on video.
Especially when you just get to see it once.
Yeah, some of this warrants a replay. Wow, good parry riposte from Ku. Although we saw the
Gomes tries
touch,
to remise and close out, but it's not quite fast enough.
Parry riposte, right.
Yep.
Haley Ku. You must have at least like 8 parry ripostes.
At least.
Wow. If I fence her, I'm not attacking.
And it's funny that infighting prowess that Gomes had in the first part of the bout has not been paying off in this second part.
Ku continuously trying to flick over the top.
Yep.
Start smacking yourself in the mask. You see your coach saying something. He's probably telling her to lay off the.
Yeah, stop flicking to that spot.
Finish to the chest, maybe.
That's interesting. Not most, but you definitely see less flicks in the women's foil than you do in men's. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but having a flick is a very good weapon.
Look at our Olympic champion.
Lee Kiefer does it extremely well, that's true.
Oh,
nice touch. Nice touch. But yeah, flicks are a really good weapon to have because they open up different target that other people are not.
And a timing.
That other people are not able to hit, and the timing of it is different also. So sometimes when someone has a flick as a weapon, especially women, they use the flicks very effectively because the other people aren't quite as used to dealing with them, and it can be hard to stop using it when it's not working.
Yeah, and as we see, Ku clearly is used to throwing those out, which means that it's probably a fairly successful part of her game. Wow, 12-all. What about?
You see they're both being a lot more conservative. They're not attacking each other nearly as much as they were before.
Mainly Gomes here because Ku's solidified, her game as a very defensive parry riposte game. Gomes was really dynamic in the first period, especially when she was up. She was ready to do anything. Ooh.
And part of it was because even though she was getting parried, she knew that she could stop attacks like that afterwards.
Look at that.
Yeah. So that was a parry and another remise with opposition.
Yeah, that was a great remise. Didn't look fun for Ku, but Gomes is with sheer will just getting these touches. Not only that, I mean, that was a slightly more disciplined touch where both fencers are working for it. Gomes worked to gain the right of way and then just forced her way down the strip, pushed Ku into the defensive. Oh,
nice touch. Another great touch over the top.
And it's so cool to see each fencer sticking to what their own strengths are with their touches. You've seen one very particular style from Ku, and a totally different one from Gomes.
Yes, that's true.
We're seeing a large variety of touches, which makes it more interesting, not just for the spectators, but the fencers themselves. Regardless of the result of this bout, you're gonna have to walk away and say that was a hard-fought bout, and I worked my.
Wow. Another nice parry.
All right, let's see. Haley Ku with the first lead I believe.
That's true, yeah.
At least in a very, very long time.
I think the first lead is correct, and at 14-13, that's a very good time to have your first lead.
Yeah, Gomez yelling to herself to get some adrenaline going. We're gonna see Ku, I think, just stick to the same plan. Work to get the blade. Oh, maybe not. You know,
She's still initiating a little bit, but letting her creep forward.
I agree. I'm speaking out of line. Ooh. Again, but here she's working to fight and get out.
She is not interested in losing the touch as she did in the first part of the bout, where she kind of comes forward without a plan and loses the touch. So you'll see her creep, but when she gets closer, she's just going to throw out something or just go backwards.
Yeah.
And
that
wasn't the plan.
Haphazard looking attack.
It was. Kind of like what we saw in the first part of the bout.
Yeah, she was not ready to commit to anything, and Gomez was. Wow, 14-0, 8 seconds in the third period.
They're probably going to let this one go, maybe.
Yeah, well, they're going to one touch anyways. I say it doesn't matter. Take your momentum, Gomez. All right, neither one did it. We'll see what happens.
Yes, so they're going to have a minute break now to talk to their coach about what is going on.
No, they might not. I think they're going straight to overtime because they...
Oh, fair enough.
It's the third period. Yeah, so they're going to priority. So sudden death, the way that it works in fencing is 1 minute to score 1 point. And as we saw the referee raise her hand to the right, that means that Ku got priority, which means that the random priority went to her. At the end of this minute, if the score is still tied, the fencer who received priority wins the bout, which incentivizes them to not just wait and let the time run out.
But that very rarely happens.
Yeah,
but
I lost once in my life on a priority.
Oh, interesting.
4-4.
Yeah, so again, not very common.
Yeah.
But this is good for Ku because she wants to play defense, which means Gomez essentially is like almost like half a point down or something. So she has to make something happen.
Yeah. Especially when that's the strength.
Yes,
the strength of Ku is her defense. And now she knows she doesn't have to attack at all. So she's just going to rely on trying to get the parry.
Like that.
As we see here. But again, Gomez has a great remise, which is something that is incredibly advantageous in foil because your remise you immediately lose right away, which means if both fencers get the light on, as you're remising, it's the other person's touch. So Gomez, so much confidence in her remise is amazing. Wow, okay, Ku. 20 seconds left.
There's not a single person talking in this room except for us.
Yeah, I know. Gomes showing a lot of patience. Okay, let's see.
I really feel how tense it is. 10 seconds remain.
Oh
my God!
Post. Wow.
That is such a gutsy touch. Yeah. It's so hard to hit that touch. And she got 3 of them this bout.
Wow. Good, hard-fought bout from both fencers. Ku with an amazing comeback.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Down 8-2 and finishing 15-14.
Great bout from Haley Ku. And we cannot say Rafaella Gomes didn't give it her all. Although it was an unfortunate loss.
She's smiling right now.
Yeah, she knows she fought well, but Ku with some heroics. So I'm going to have to go down and cheer for the Air Force team and then coach my women's MPSF. But thank you for having me up here, Andrew. It's been a fun time, and I really enjoyed this exercise. Thank you. Hopefully we can do it again.
Yes, sounds good.
We shook hands, everyone.